Welcome back to the Let's Glow Show. It's Amanda Sweet, the Creative Fairy Godmother, and I help people get fly, make friends, and save the world through community. And on the Let's Glow Show, every single week, we interview creative entrepreneurs and people doing amazing work across the nation. But our guest today is super special, and she's doing amazing work right here in Detroit. Kiana Wenzell. My round of applause track. Welcome.
Okay.
Good morning. How you feeling?
I feel great. And thank you so much, Amanda, for having me on your show. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Okay, so you got a couple titles, and I want you to just list them off because I was going to do it, but I feel like you did it so beautifully, and you have a ring to it. So let's hear it.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm Kiana Wenzell, and I am happy to be the co-executive director of Design Core Detroit, which is a nonprofit organization that is champions of Detroit design. So we're all about spreading that design gospel, that Detroit design gospel is what I'd be calling it. And I am director of the Detroit Month of Design, which is an annual multidisciplinary festival that occurs September 1st through the 30th. This year is our 14th anniversary. And we are so happy to have Amanda and the revamp clothing swap as part of the festival this year.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited you're here. I'm so excited to be a part because I've been watching and attending Design Core events for a long time and just seeing what you guys are building, the environment and ecosystem that you're creating for creatives is so inspiring to me. So I'm feeling like when I filled out the application actually. So I'm co-hosting Live in the Deep, and somebody asked me why, how are you getting a part of so many things? And I'm like, I love an application. Like, give me an application, I'm gonna fill it out.
Right.
So when I find this was my first year ever seeing the applications open. Okay, like, we're gonna fill it out. We're gonna put our hat in the ring and see how it goes. And getting that email back was felt so exciting, invigorating.
Good. I'm glad.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited. It's beautiful. It's already beautiful. The experience has already been beautiful. So tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do on a day-to-day. What does Design Core actually do?
Yeah, so Design Core, we are a catalyst that brings together all the creative activity that is happening in our city, whether you are an emerging creative, whether you're a creative in the growth stage, so you have established your business, you're looking to hire more employees, or if you're an established firm and we're looking to retain that business in our city, we are supporting these creatives. We do talent matchmaking. So on a weekly, we're like, hey, if you need a designer, Detroit designers offer unique value and give us a chance to shoot our shot for that RFP or that next opportunity. And so we're always trying to match Detroit designers with buyers. Design Core is an economic development nonprofit organization, which doesn't really sound sexy. People are like, oh, they don't think about Design Core and think about economic development. They think about Design Core and they think of fun, a party, a celebration, drinks by design, Easter Market After Dark. But all of that, those events are vehicles to connecting Detroit designers to opportunities, whether that's a speaking opportunity, whether it's a job, workforce development, or connecting them to a buyer. So we do that a lot on the daily. We also do a lot of program management. So our Drinks by Design series, which is showcasing our talent, planning Month of Design. And then we are also, Design Core is the steward of Detroit's City of Design designation, which we received from the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. So it's a global, UNESCO, we are globally relevant.
Yes.
The first and only city of design in the United States of America. So we're always doing a lot of education and saying what's the value of hiring a Detroit designer, talking locally, nationally, and internationally about our city and what's special about our city and getting people to come to our city. So a lot of our work is around growth, growing the market for design, retention. We want to retain talent, retain residents, and attraction. We want to attract people to Detroit so they can meet people like you, and they can go to the revamped clothing swap, and it can grow. You can become like, grow your business over time. So that is the work of Design Core. Our tagline is champions of Detroit design, because we're repping our city every single day.
I got like chills like 4 times. Okay. So first, okay, I wanna go back because you said economic business development. And to me, that sounds very sexy. Like it sounds very sexy because, and this is what I see a lot when working with creatives and consulting on community building and events. We don't want to, they're like, we don't have to make money. That's like the first thing that comes out of the creatives' mouths. Like, I want to do this for the people. And trust me, when I say I have done, this is my, you're going to get mad at me, Kiana. This is my first year actually charging for things. And I've been doing this for 15 years.
Sure.
And I'm always like, let's just do it. I'll volunteer. It'll be good exposure. It'll be good for this. And I'll justify not getting paid my worth.
Right.
And justify the opportunity and justify all of the reasons why they shouldn't be paying me, even though they're making money or whatever the case may be. So when you say economic development, it sounds very sexy to me.
Okay,
and
good.
Dive in a little bit because I'm sure you see this too. And how do you get creatives out of this create for creating community to saying like, let's find a way to make you some money so you can sustain this and then do this better?
Yes. I often say that there's no shortage of great ideas in the world. That's what I love about creativity. It's that it's infinitely abundant. We're never going to run out of creative ideas, so I'm going into that abundancy mindset. What in the world is just like infinitely abundant? And it's lots of things that's infinitely abundant, but creativity, you're like never going to run out. So, okay, great. We know that it's a lot of creative ideas out there, but if you don't have business acumen for your creative idea, or sometimes it's social capital that people are missing, how to make those business connections, then it's just a great idea. Everyone has a great idea, but how do you turn that into a business that you can grow? You need to have some business acumen or hire someone that can help you with that. Or a lot of times it's about that business development. Who is helping me to do the relationship mapping to meet new customers and grow my social capital so I'm bringing in new business? And otherwise, you're just going to have that great idea and great, but what does that do for your bottom line and bringing in revenue?
Exactly. I think there's a couple things there, and I feel like I have people that watch from a range of stages in their life. So when you say business acumen, what do you mean?
I mean, looking at your pricing structure. So what do you charge? I've had people say, oh, this custom dress, how much? Oh, I love this dress. I want to support you as an artist. How much? And they're like $200. And I'm like, $200, but if you have to sew it by hand and you're buying material, so what time?
Yep.
Your cost. And then what is your material cost? So what are administrative costs saving for a rainy day? And so if someone's like, I can make you this dress for $100, then what is your pricing structure for that? Like, because you have to go to the store to buy the fabric that's costing you money. You have to sew it, you have to measure me. It doesn't sound like $100 or $200 is enough money necessarily. Maybe for, if it's like manufactured, then of course, you can make a lot. And so a lot of times it's like, well, can you help me understand your pricing structure and what you're charging for things, and then helping the creative work through those things. And then if you want to hire staff in the future, you have to build the cost of hiring somebody into your retail price, whether you're a product designer, graphic designer. And so when you're looking at creating your menu of services and then allocating prices to that, is really doing a deep dive. Because even as a nonprofit exec, people think nonprofit, you don't have to make money. I have a staff, we're a team of 8. So I have revenue and I have expenses. Everyone has revenue and everybody has expenses. So you really have to take time looking at how you're going to be bringing in money, and then what fixed costs do you have? If you have a brick and mortar, I have to pay my rent. If you have lights, and then what costs are adjustable. And then that's really how you're going to be able to set your base price for your menu of services and be able to build up a savings for your business for a rainy day, or to expand your staff, or to get new software or new equipment. So that needs to be built into your pricing structure. So a lot of times it's coaching designers. Design Core does one-on-one coaching. We have a network of designers. It's called the Detroit Design Network. So members, they pay an annual fee. We have emerging, growth, and established levels, and we offer one-on-one coaching sessions to help do a deeper dive into your business model. Or it's like, I'm looking to get funding. I want to approach a bank to get a loan. What things do I need to have ready for that? So that's kind of like the business acumen portion, slowing down and really doing a deep dive. And then when it comes to the social capital, if you're selling to like friends and family, what is your marketing strategy for bringing in new audiences? And a lot of times when I'm talking to event organizers for the festival, I say this is actually a business development opportunity. The festival is an educational platform. It's a connection platform. And then you're meeting new customers. So how are you prepared? You have your festival event. It's people coming from all over the world or from the state. When they come to your event, how are you going to keep in touch with those people?
Yeah.
Have a plan for that and follow up with them so you can grow your audience and grow your customer base.
You're speaking right to me. I'm like, okay, like, how can I, because I feel like I'm at a transition, and I feel it in my work. I feel it in the requests that I'm getting, like being on live in the D. I was like, what? And
that's
my
husband, accomplishment. Yeah.
You are ready. You go live every week. You've been preparing for this. You are ready for this. You can do this. But my first thought was, okay, well, what do I do with this? Like, how can I leverage this opportunity? And I'm thinking about that about the month of design too. And I had this amazing connection with the Detroit Shipping Co. So thank you for that. So excited to work with them. They're amazing. All of the businesses within the Shipping Co. are just like fantastic. So, but like, I'm like, how do I leverage this? How do I make this make as much sense as possible? How do I make this work for me as much as possible? So thinking about those things, like, how do I keep in touch? Right. I'm like, okay, got to make the email list, got to make it available, got to make sure the next event is live, ready to go for them to register, like all of those things. But I love that you're doing this. I love that the organization is doing this, because there's so many amazing, talented people right here, and they're stuck at a wall where they're like, okay, well, what do I do next? And they just need to open the door, but they don't know where the door is. That's part of the problem.
Right. Let's help bring some doors together.
Exactly.
Not yes.
Exactly. Yes. So I love that. So I'm curious a little bit about you and how you got in this role, and what is your background? Like, how did you end up here?
Yeah, so my background, I'm from Detroit, West Side, Grand River and Southfield. Yes. My dad worked at Ford Motor Company for 38 years. Shout out to my dad. He was also in the Army Reserves. And my mom was a public school teacher. She taught at Winterhalter Middle School of Math and Science. So design and education have always been a part of my life, because my mom was a teacher and my dad worked at Ford. But as a young person, I didn't really know that, until I came more into my being. And so I, grew up on the West Side in North Rosedale Park, with all these beautiful homes. And that was the first time as a young person that I had like an emotional connection to the built environment. Just walking through Rosedale, taking walks with my mom, my dad, my sister, like, wow, look at that house. And like that limestone, or look at their landscaping. I just remember as a kid wanting to go inside of people's homes. Like I would love to go inside that house. It's so beautiful on the outside. I wonder what it looked like in the inside. So that was kind of really interesting to me. And then I went for 9 years. I went to St. Mary's of Retford, a Catholic school. It's now closed, but it's near Rosedale. And every Wednesday we would go to mass in this beautiful church with stained glass windows and all of that. And then people would be singing, and it was like, oh. And then as a kid, you're just kind of like dreaming, looking, sights, sounds. And I'm like, wow, it was like a spiritual visual. Like, how does creativity make you feel? Like the arts really connect people on an emotional level and sometimes a spiritual level. So that was some of my exposure as a kid that I didn't really know how that was going to impact me. But when I went to Cass Tech, my counselor said, they say, okay, you can choose a curriculum at Cass Tech. You can study like a foreign language. You can go into like biology. We have an architecture program. And my ears, I'm like, what? You have an architecture program? That's super cool to me. Sign me up for architecture.
Love that.
So I am really thankful. That was a pivotal moment in my life that at 14 years old, I met my first female architect. Shout out to Mrs. Baker. And I recently saw her a couple years ago. I'm like, Mrs. Baker, oh my God, I love you.
I love you.
Mrs. Baker, you helped me at 14 years old. She was living downtown, and this was in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
She was living downtown, and she took us on a walking tour to like through downtown Detroit, where she was able to help us see, because designers are visionaries.
Oh yeah.
You can see beyond what is in front of us and work towards that change and transformation that we have inside, you know. So Mrs. Baker was really influential to me. I also met my first Black architect, Mr. Emil and Mr. Rambo. Mr. Rambo was my drafting teacher. So I was very, very strict, and you had to be well behaved in his class. And so that was really pivotal for me going into the architecture program, 9th grade through 12th grade. Then when it came time to decide what I was going to do after high school, I went on a college tour, different colleges. Looking at the price, I was sticker shocked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Looking at some of these colleges and universities, and I landed at Eastern Michigan University. Because my sister went there and I had visited the campus. It was affordable. You know, I didn't want to go into much debt. So I was like, well, what do they have at Eastern? I can continue in this career. So I looked at graphic design. I looked at computer aided design. I looked at, they didn't have an architecture program, but they had an interior design program. Yeah. So I landed in interior design, which I love because I talked to the counselor. They seemed really cool. And I graduated with my degree in interior design in 2004. And I landed a job. When I was in college, I landed a job as a visual merchandiser at Briarwood Mall, which I really appreciated. And that was important for me. Briarwood, visual merchandising. And when I went to go interview, because they were just opening up the Von Maur store. So I was visual merchandiser at Von Maur, had my little interior design portfolio, you know, and I go in and I'm like, I'm here to interview. You know, they're like, okay, you can work in this department. And I was like, well, I would really like to work in your visual merchandising department. I brought my portfolio. And I'm so glad that I did, because the lady hired me to be a visual merchandiser. You have to ask for what you want. If you don't ask for what you want, it's scary to ask. And that is, even now, it's scary to ask a client the real price. It can be scary. And I think that's why some people lower their prices, because you think that if the price is too high, they're not going to go with you. But really what it's about is educating your buyer on what that price includes. So I did 10 years of residential. Once I graduated from Eastern, I worked at Marshall Field's interior design studio doing residential. So it'd be like this sofa. What's the difference between this $1,000 sofa and this $5,000 sofa? So I would be there, and I was like, well, let me tell you about the structure of this sofa. Why is this one more? Then you go into educating them on good, better, best. Why is this one best and this one just good? There's no wrong answer. We want the best value for you, your budget, and your family. And so the same is now, if I'm telling a funder, I need $50,000 for this project.
Yep.
And here is why. Administrator and labor and a staffing person to follow this is this much. Fabrication is this much. Material this much. And once people understand what's in that price, they're more likely to be like, oh, I understand why it's $50,000. You know, I have 35. And then you say, okay, let me scale it back. For 35, you can do this, this, or this. So it's okay to explain to people why the price is, and they're more likely to move forward with it. And so, you know, I did that for a while, and I don't know where I was going with that, but interior design.
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
So you ask for what you want, say what the price, explain, educate your potential client. So in that process, I'm just wondering, because I recently got contacted by a larger organization to do some influencer work. I gave them a proposal. We had a really great conversation. My influential work is in bringing people together. So I pitched a event for them that would come with social media content, like more than they were asking for. And in the proposal, this was like my first big proposal that I ever sent, like as Amanda Sweet. And I sent it over. I put the price right in there, and they never responded, like at all. And I'm wondering if I made a mistake by like putting the price right up front, or should I just have sent the proposal? Here's what we're going to offer. Let them have interest, because this is rolling through my head. Like I'm like, should I send it like this? Like, should I let them see what the product is, let them mull over it, come back and say like, we're interested, what's the price? Or like, did it the way I did and they just like, people just get ghosted? Is that like, I'm just kind of wondering what thoughts are. I've been like, did I mess this up? Did I do this wrong? Like,
what I started adding over time, some people just take a long time to respond. And I have to remind myself, people don't always wake up thinking about design core.
Yes.
They probably like have their own jobs and stuff. So I'm like, okay, this person's not waking up thinking about me. Like, but I'm thinking about them because it's important to my business, you know?
Yes.
But what I've started adding is, based on our conversation, I've attached a proposal. Based on our conversation, this is what I'm proposing. Keep in mind that this proposal is adjustable or is customizable based on your needs and budget.
Yeah.
So I'm putting this line item, fill in the blank, $5,000, $10,000.
Sure.
But keep in mind that it can be adjusted based on your specific needs and your budget. But the client has to tell you. Sometimes the client doesn't want to tell people what their true budget is. I don't know why. They're afraid, okay, you're going to spend it all.
Yeah.
So you just tell them the true cost.
Right.
So that you can grow your business. But let them know I'm open to, once you know what your budget is. If you say your budget, I tell you 10, your budget is 5. I am okay going back and revising this budget to fit within a $5,000 price range. You know, sometimes I have a minimum. I can't do it for $100. It's not possible.
It's not
the way. I have to cover labor, I have to cover equipment, all of that. My minimum is this. But so that gives them something to respond to. So they can be like, oh, okay, you know, she said 10, you know, my budget's really 7. Then you're like, okay, I can work with that. But for 7, I can do this, this, and this. For 10, I can do this, this, and this. And then let's decide.
Well, I like that.
Get into that negotiation. I love when I'm in a negotiation. I'm like, ooh, I'm deep in negotiation.
I'm working on looking at my empathy as added value and not as something to my detriment. But a lot of times I'm like, I don't know if you've seen that meme going around, but she's like, don't charge them. I feel bad, like for like the drinks that they ordered. And so I'm like, I feel, you know, somebody said to me once, like, you're making assumptions about other people's feelings, which really hit me. It hit me. But like how, because I get a sense from you that you're also very empathetic. But
I'm glad you get that.
How do you protect the soft girl inside of you and then also protect your business and make sure that you're negotiating fairly and like remove the emotion? Because for me, I'm just like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. We have a quote in our office. Because this is something we just deal with through our whole career, is we have to unapologetically ask for what we are worth. You are worthy and you bring value, and be unapologetic about what you're bringing to the table. I'm a big affirmations person. I got quotes all
Me
over the
too.
place.
Me
So
too.
unapologetically ask for what you are worth, and that's empathy to you.
Yeah. Oh,
Yes, be
yeah.
so where's the empathy for Amanda?
Yeah.
Amanda to be empathetic to Amanda first, and
Yes.
then the way that I explain it to people, and so you can put sometimes in the proposal, I do put a good, better, and best. So I'll give them 5,
Three.
10, 15,
Yeah.
and say, okay, let me know your budget and your needs, and I'm open to adjustments. So that's some empathy there. Let's have a conversation about it. I'm happy to jump on a call, and then you're getting in that negotiation. But I have to unapologetically ask for what I'm worth for my family, for my team, the people that I'm representing, because as a co-exec, I'm not just representing myself. I have a staff and I have to think about them as well in the future of the organization and the people that we're serving, because I cannot serve as a nonprofit. We're serving the community. I can't serve the community if I'm not bringing in the right amount of funding sources to do this program justice, then I'm doing a disservice to the community and to my staff.
Mm.
And I've said no to stuff. I've actually have said no to some things, which is like, wow, I said no to this person. Because you know why? If I say no to something, it's because do they really value what we're bringing to the table that we've worked so hard for? And if
Yeah.
somebody is not valuing it, do you really want to work with that person? Every job is not a good job. Because if
Yes.
you're doing that job, you're not doing another job.
Okay.
It's
You preach.
hard, but it's true.
Good morning.
I know. And these are things I tell myself. If I'm taking less, knowing that it's really truly worth this and I'm not taking advantage of that person, do I
Yeah.
turn it down so I can find the right buyer, find the right customer, partner, funder that truly values us, and we can multiply our impact and outcome?
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I'm trying to be like you when I grow up. I
I want to
love
be like you. We can be like each other.
just share. Just
Amanda
share.
and Kiana, okay, combined.
I love that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I want to circle back to a couple quick things. So you were a buyer, you were a merchandiser,
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah, that's right.
there's like a big gap there. Now you're an exec at a nonprofit. Like, how did you end up at Design Core?
Really, 2008, Detroit was going through a lot, like bankruptcy, and our city was not where it is now.
No.
It was very, very early stages. I participated in the first design festival in 2011. So that was a pivotal moment. So I was working in residential, going to people's homes, blah, blah, blah. But then meanwhile, society was going through a lot, you know, in like 2008, 2009, Detroit. And I'm like, wow, so many people are having a hard time. That empathy thing. I'm like, I really feel like I want my design skills to be used for community work.
Mm.
When you're doing residential, you're impacting like a family or one person because you're in their home. And I said, I would like for my design decisions to impact 100 people, 1,000 people. That's the power of design. We spend 75% of our lives indoors, 75% of our lives indoors. So think about the quality of your interior environment and how it's going to impact the quality of your life. So I said, well, maybe I want to move into healthcare design, design for healing, and design interiors that's going to help people going through medical issues, or maybe like design for education, helping to design schools, design for learning. I just felt like this calling in my heart that I wanted my design skills to be used for greater good. So I started, navigating, looking for another job, basically, from where I was working at. And then at the same time, I heard about this Detroit Design Festival coming to the city. I was like, I need to be a part of that because I'm a Black woman in design. I'm struggling. I'm struggling navigating the industry and really finding a studio that was a good cultural fit for me.
Mhm.
I'm gonna be a part of this festival because it's gonna help me meet more people. That's social capital. I need to get out here and meet more people. I'm going to work. I'm seeing my family, but I need to network and really get out there. So I said I'm gonna host an event during the festival. And I was living in Lafayette Park at the time, and I curated a walking tour of Lafayette Park where people came. I did a presentation. I took them into different homes. I got my neighbors to open up some of their houses. I
Like your
charged,
dreams.
okay, I charged $10 per person for my tour during the first festival in 2011. I was still in residential design at the time, but trying to get out of it. And so I did a morning tour and an afternoon tour. Both tours sold out.
Of course they did.
Oh my God, it was such a boost to my confidence level. It said, like, people really do want to know what I have to say as a designer. Through that process, I met more creatives. So I did that tour for like 3 years in a row. Then I met another designer. I did something with her during Easter Market After Dark one year. And then I heard that Design Corps was hiring. I think they posted something on social media. Oh my God, I love Design Corps. I've been a part of the festival. I've been going to Drinks by Design. I was trying to get out of residential design into like commercial. I had never really thought about nonprofit as a full-time career. I didn't think that designers could do that until while I was navigating, I got a part-time job at Community Arts Partnerships, which is CAP. It's another nonprofit located inside CCS. So I had gotten laid off from a job. Some job I was there for like 3 months and then they laid me off. I'm like, why did you even hire me? This is dumb.
Right. What a waste of money.
But a blessing in disguise, because guess what? They laid me off and I started looking for another job. And because of that, I landed at CAP. I was a visual arts specialist and they did public sculptures in Detroit neighborhoods. And they received funding from the Skillman Foundation to hire Detroit artists to get these grants to do public sculptures in Detroit neighborhoods with a community-based approach. So they would go to the Clark Park neighborhood, Osborne neighborhood, Brightmoor neighborhood, and work with community members to say, community, we have the money for this sculpture. Where should it go? Community, we have a list of artists. Look through them and vote and tell us which artists you want in your. And I had never seen anything like that. I was like, wow, this is a new process for community-based design where community is involved in the process, where I was used to just the designer and the buyer, and that's it.
Sure.
Under the directorship of Michael Brzee was the executive director at the time. So it was my job to take the votes and tally them and then file them for our grant reports. It was also my job to, once the artist got to a certain stage in their sculpture process, to get paid out their honorarium or stipend. So I was working with, okay, it's $40,000. Once you sign your agreement, you get a down payment. Then you get a second. Once you reach this milestone, the second or the third or whatever. Then once it was done, we will always do like a ribbon cutting event with the community.
Yeah, they picked it. Yes.
They picked it. And so I was at several, and I would help plan, okay, this Brightmoor project is done. Brightmoor, we're going to have a ribbon cutting. Who should we have? Who should the DJ be? Who should the performers be? So I helped plan all of that. And that was kind of like my on-ramp to nonprofit design leadership.
Wow.
And so I did that for like 2.5 years. And then I saw that Design Corps was hiring for someone to manage Drinks by Design. And because I had been a part of the festival, I had been going to Drinks by Design, I had worked at CAP, I had the skill set to apply for that job, you know, and I was like, I'm going to apply, shoot my shot, do my best.
Yeah.
And they hired me. Yay. So I successfully navigated from residential into the nonprofit space, using my skills to have more community impact. And from there, I just did the best that I could do. I was like, I'm going to just do the best I can do at Drinks by Design. And so then I had the opportunity in 2018. I got hired in 2016 at Design Corps. And then at the end of 2018, there was an opening to take over the month of design. It was
Mm-hmm.
called the Detroit Design Festival at the time.
Okay.
And because I had been helping with the festival, even though I wasn't leading it, I was doing Drinks by Design, assisting with the festival. They said, Kiana, that you seems like you would be a good fit for this. You want to interview for it. And I interviewed for the director of the festival and I got that job. So then I was like promoted and I led my first festival in 2019.
Yes.
So that was kind of like my first year touching the waters, I'm like, okay, I'm new. And I'm like, ooh, 2020 is going to be my true breakout year.
Mm-hmm.
2019 was kind of a practice year.
Sure.
And I was like, 2020 is going to be lit. But I did
Yeah.
not know the pandemic was coming, but we successfully navigated it. And then in 2022, the prior executive director of design, Cora Olga Stella, moved on to vice president of strategy and communications, snap. And then looking at the organization, we decided that a co-leadership model would really be a reflection of our values, collaboration, diverse experiences, accessibility, and a collaborative leadership model is truly saying something when people look at our leadership team. So I lead the organization with Bonnie Fahum. She has a background in business and human resources, and I have a background in design and technical writing. And so together, we're able to coach creatives, whether it's from a business standpoint, communication standpoint, or a practicing standpoint. And so together we are in our second year. So kind of a long story, but that's my journey.
Yeah. I am so inspired by you. I have like some of the questions the question that came to mind is, as a Black woman in leadership, how did you navigate that like leadership experience in the public? Because I feel like there's a lot of women in my network, especially Black women, that are like, I want to be a leader, I want to be an executive, and they're at the, like employee or maybe even like on their way to director level. But what advice do you have for them, for us to like go from like, okay, I'm just a team member to I want to be an executive?
Yes. I say really your mental state, and you have to be mentally prepared for a lot of financials. When I went, the biggest jump for me from leading just the festival to becoming co-executive director is nonprofit financial management and fundraising.
Yeah.
Asking and relationship building, asking philanthropy, corporate sponsors, earned revenue. You're really moving into business development at the nonprofit level, at least. And so I would say really that mental state, being that willingness to learn and go to the next level that can help take you there, would be one. So I'm in a lot of Excel sheets. I do stuff that people think, oh, what do you do all day? They don't know that I'm in budget Excel sheets a lot, or that I'm writing a lot of grant proposals. I do a lot of writing. And so really getting your writing skills up. There's a lot of bad writers out there. And so either take a class or work on your writing or hire somebody to help you when you're doing your proposals. Because a lot of times if a funder, they can have a Zoom call with you, but they're going to ask you to send over a written proposal that sometimes includes a budget. So that's where their financial comes in. That's where their writing comes in. Also verbal communication skills, like really working on your interpersonal communication skills, being able to read people, being able to read a room, being okay with public speaking, which I know you definitely have. I listened to this podcast called Women at Work. It's from Harvard Business Review. I highly recommend it. And they talk about executive presence. What is executive presence? It's not one thing. You are the executive, you're walking in the room. What are you wearing? What are you saying? You're an executive all the time. Are you building those relationships, following up with people? Can you lead a meeting? Can you lead an advisory council? You have to be able to bring people together as an executive and be able to motivate people. So a lot of times it's the ability to motivate others that help you become a leader. So yes, at the management level, I'm leading like the implementation phase. But when you go up the next level, sometimes directors are not actually the one implementing. They're the ones motivating and creating that vision and strategy. So those are some things that I would recommend. I did go back to school after Easter, talking about trying to move up for my career. And I got a degree in technical writing and professional communication, which really
Mm,
helped me with speaking in front of large groups
wow,
about business and following up with them. So those are some things that it really takes.
interesting. Okay, so how did you decide that you needed to go back to school? Was that like something that you're like, I just know that I want to do this, or did you kind of wrestle with the thought of that? Because I feel like I'm constantly thinking about that, and then I'm like, I should also just do the thing on the entrepreneurial side.
Yeah.
But where did that happen for you?
My mom was a school teacher, so I basically grew up in school. And I don't
Hmm.
know if it was something that I love. I'm a lifelong learner, even now. You can have 3 degrees and still need to learn things because the world just changes
Oh,
fast.
oh yeah.
So I really felt like, what do I need to go to the next level in my career? I'm out here, I'm applying for jobs, I'm working, I'm dedicated.
Mhm.
Am I not getting the respect because I didn't go to the right school?
Mm.
Am I not getting the respect that I want because I didn't study architecture? I studied interior design.
Right,
Oh,
right.
or it's like, people navigating. So
Yeah,
the bureaucracy of professional practice.
yeah.
Um, or is it because I'm lacking like the interpersonal and communication skills, like written communication? Because
Mm.
interior design is a lot of specifying. You do a lot of like, okay, this person wants this sofa, but they really want to reupholster it. You have to do some math. You have to contact this person, that person. So I think communications or business would be a good thing for me, or that technical writing is really helping you explain complex data or simplifying the communication of complex issues
Mm.
using words or pictures and verbal, like a little bit of both.
Yeah,
So I did that to get those skills and meet more people, building
yeah.
my social capital. So I went to Lawrence Tech because Lawrence Tech, you went to Lawrence Tech?
Yeah, I'm an LTU alum. Look at us.
Oh, go Blue Devils! And I chose Lawrence Tech because it was a smaller school. I feel like they were respected, like engineering, architecture, um, and their student makeup. I felt like if I can succeed at a school that has like robotics, engineering, architecture,
Predominantly white
construction,
male. You could just say
right,
that.
it is going to help me navigate in my professional settings.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
so I took the scenic route at LTU, meaning I just took one class a semester. I
yeah,
was not trying to go and stop working. So I took
yeah.
one class, paid it off, one class, paid it off.
All right.
But I learned about rhetoric, which is
Mm-hmm.
the art of persuasion and the art of, communicate, lots of different levels of communication.
Yeah.
And I learned about some writing skills,
You must
which
have had Professor Stavish
I
classes.
did have professors. How did you know? Oh my God.
She was the queen of the technical
The
writing, the
queen of technical
I
writing.
her. She really she told it like it was. She
Yeah.
said the truth. I'm sure she still says the truth, but when I was at Lawrence Tech, I was a child, okay? I
Right.
was young, I was very ambitious but very chaotic, like
Mhm.
just chaos in a body is like the
Right.
energy that I had, and I was overly ambitious and would say yes to everything and
Right.
volunteer for myself for stuff that I didn't want to do.
Right.
Um, and she let me have it because I volunteered myself for something. I
Yep.
didn't complete the project on time, and in front of everyone, she was like, don't sign up for stuff that you cannot complete. And let me have it for
Yes.
like a minute and a half in front of everybody.
Right.
I remember crying and being like, I hate her. But
Okay, right. Thick skin, which was
you
that's a
know,
savage, right?
but as an adult,
Right.
I have so much respect for her. I
Yes.
appreciate her because everybody else is just blowing smoke. They're like, it's fine,
Right.
it's
Right. Hmm.
fine. But
Right.
the reality is that is how my clients, my future clients, my sponsors, my partners are going to behave
Yes.
if I don't produce the work that they're paying for. And
Yes.
so like she taught me that lesson publicly,
Mm-hmm.
aggressively, in her way. She's a very stern, for those of you that don't know her, she's a very like, she's on point with her communication. She like every single word is valuable, and she's direct, and she is like very like stoic, I guess is a good word
Yes.
for her. And so as a young person who's like
Yeah.
used to being like everything's fine, like I was like, she's mean, like she's mean. But like the reality was she was teaching me a huge lesson about life and entrepreneurship and professionalism and all of those things.
I
And I
agree.
just like, you were saying all these words and I'm like, Professor Stavish.
That was Professor Savage. I had professors and storytelling. She's a really good storyteller. The art of storytelling, which is a part of everything, you know.
Yes.
So shout out to Professor Stavish and Holly Helterhoff. I'm not sure if you know.
Holly Helterhoff.
Holly Helterhoff. That's my girl. Yes.
Is just an
Yeah.
absolute angel.
Yes.
I interned for her for 2
Okay.
semesters, and like I also flunked out of one of her classes,
Okay.
and
It's tough.
and
It's tough. Right.
I hired her later. Like she was like freelancing and doing some work, and as a professional adult, I hired her to help me with some of my writing work and help me like kind of kick off the process of writing a book. And I'm still in that process, and we're kind of like taking a little break from that. I think I need more life to live for the book to be complete. But Holly was amazing, and that's just that's that social. You were saying, what are the words that you were using?
Social capital or
Social capital.
yeah.
Yes, those relationships. I think, like for those of you that are in school or still working at a job that you're not like 100% sure about or like trying to navigate, your coworkers, your colleagues, your teachers, your professors, they're all valuable, and they have networks outside of the bubble that you know them in. And I feel
Yes.
like we forget that these people like our teachers or our coworkers are like more than just like our teachers and coworkers, And I learned very quickly at Lawrence Tech that the people that I need to meet and build the relationships with are not my fellow students, but my teachers. Like, and I know I still talk to a couple people like from school wise, like student wise, but I have relationships with my past professors. Like we'll go grab coffee, grab a wine, like go out to dinner. And like, those are the people that I'm like, I didn't think this was going to be a thing, like
Right.
being in class, but like those relationships are so valuable. The peer-to-peer relationships are absolutely valuable as well. But going into school, you're not thinking like, oh, I'm going to like become friends with my teacher. But you should be thinking that way.
Yes. And maybe what I was really also searching for when I made that decision was more mentorship. From Stavish, from Holly, that I didn't know that I really needed at the time, but maybe that's what I was seeking was more mentorship as well.
Yeah.
And if someone out there watching this can't afford to go to like a Lawrence Tech and EMU, there are lots of master classes out there, 6-week, 8-week classes. And the way that education is now, we need the full spectrum of learning offerings, whether it's just like a one day, whether it's watching something like this,
Yes.
picking up nuggets of information, whether it's a 2-week course, Build Institute, or
Yes.
whether it's a 2-year degree, 4-year degree, there's something, the right learning offering for the right person at the right time of their life.
I love
It's
that.
something that I learned from CCS is that's one of their phrases now, the right learning offering for the right person at the right time, from infancy to senior citizenship.
Yep.
Learning is a continuous journey.
I love that. And it's so much bigger than like a curriculum or a degree. Like I feel like we're really groomed to think like college and this is what education looks like. But I find myself taking classes when I feel lost or discouraged. Like I'm either reading a book or signing up for a class. And I was in a really, really dark place over the winter. And I took a class at CCS. I took
good.
Sewing 101. And then I took dressmaking. And I made so many friends, like so many friends out of that class. It also taught me like determination and diligence. If I'm going to sign up for something, I'm going to complete it, because there's a version of me that would just like paid for it and dropped out because it was on a Saturday morning at 9 a.m. and it was in the middle of winter, you know. But
like,
I'm
oh,
like,
why did I sign up for 9 a.m.?
I don't want to be that person. Like, I made a commitment to myself and this thing that I'm interested in, and can I show up for myself? And now, like, the professor, Robin Burton, is an amazing friend of mine. And now, like, every time I wear a corset, a custom corset, she made it. Like, and I'm like, now it's becoming a part of my brand. And I'm like, okay, we got this relationship going. I want to custom this. I want to custom that. It changed my perspective on how to like represent my brand in public, which I didn't even think that was going to be an outcome from taking a sewing class. Like, what, you know? And then so many of those people are now part of the revamp, and like collaborators and partners, like people that show up to class. And I know I just said, like, I don't want to make friends with my peer. Like, I didn't go to school to make friends with my peers, but
organically, it happens organically.
And now we're like doing business together and speaking and consulting and coaching and like supporting and sending each other stuff. And so it's just one of those things. And like, for those of you that feel like money, like are concerned about the money, I just took a 12-week course at Tech Town called Retail Bootcamp. So if you're interested in going like the brick and mortar route, this is a great option. If you're interested in e-commerce, that's their next cohort. But there was $500, well, it was $499 deposit. But if you completed the work, you get your money back.
Whoa.
So they give you $500 back. They say they invest there for your first dollar. And there's $5,000 grants, and there's only 12, there's a cap at 12 people. So I'm like, this is like, there are opportunities out there that can give you this like beautiful amount of information and tools and resources and connections of people that might be free, but or maybe have a payment up front. But there's nonprofits out there like Design Core that are like, we want to help you. We have this money to get you from here to here. And I had no idea. Like, I was aware that there's nonprofits out there that are doing good work, but I didn't know that I was eligible to be someone that would benefit from that. Cause I'm just like, I'm not doing that much, you know, I'm not doing enough, or I don't have enough this, or I don't have enough that. But if you don't apply or you don't do the research,
you don't apply. And most women don't apply if they, don't feel like they meet 100% of the qualifications. I was talking to someone, shout out to Applebaum Family Philanthropy. We have an intern through Applebaum, and I was recently at a session with some of the supervisors, and there was an HR representative there from, I believe he works for the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. I might be wrong, but he was saying statistically, it's been proven that women, if they don't meet like 90% of the job qualifications, if it's a job posting out there, they won't apply. When in actuality, if you have like 60% of the qualifications for the job posting, go ahead and shoot your shot, because a lot of employers are willing to like train you more, and it's okay. But if you never apply, you're never going to get the opportunity. And so go ahead and just put your name in the hat.
And put your name in. And I think that goes to programs as well. And something about filling out an application for a program like the Detroit Month of Design helps me get to the level where I am capable of being right for the Detroit Month of Design, because now I know what you're looking for. And if I wasn't this year and applied and didn't get in, now I have like a benchmark of, okay, this is what they need.
Yes.
And I can work on getting that. Or this is what they need, and I have time to get it done before the deadline. Let me do it. You know, that's why I like to do stuff like Detroit Month of Design, because I'm like, okay, let's push a little, you know, just to see how far it can get us to the next level. But
and you're going to meet so many people from your events. You already have built relationships with the shipping company and so many other people you're going to meet through hosting your event. So yeah,
I'm excited to come to Drinks by Design tomorrow night.
Yes,
it's going to be beautiful. We have just a couple minutes. So where can people find out more about Drinks by Design, Design Core, Detroit Month of Design?
Yes, designcore.org is our website. You can go to the event section to learn about our upcoming events. You can also find us on social media at Design Core DET. And my handle is Kiana, Kiana _ Design Pro. Those are my socials. You can also go to DetroitMonthOfDesign.org for the full list of events in September. The schedule will be going live in August.
Love it. And I usually ask for one last piece of advice. Do you have anything you want to share with the folks watching?
I want to say, folks, let your light shine, because when you illuminate the best of you, you shine light on the rest of you and those around you. So there is someone waiting for you to shine so that they can step into that, like that little afterglow that comes when you're shining, that illumination that's on the floor. Someone is counting on that so they can step into it for the next level in their life. So let your light shine, or as Amanda would say, glow.
Let's glow.
Let's glow, baby. Let's glow. And so some people, they don't want to be too loud. They don't want to be too ambitious. They don't want to be too enthusiastic. But you have to be your best cheerleader, your best champion, and don't be afraid to speak up. So some people are like that shine. I used to not want to shine. I'm kind of loud. I'm kind of animated, but I am who I am. And if you are not who you are meant to be, how can you find the people that are meant for you? So that's what I tell myself a lot. I tell myself that every day: shine and be the best of you.
And you do that. And I'm so excited to be able to work with you more. From the day I met you, I was like, I like her.
I
She's
know.
fun.
Shout out to Brianna, who brought us together at her fashion event when you were moderating. So if I didn't go to that event, I would have never really met you and be here today. So
I love it. It's so
yeah.
beautiful. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
And thank you all for watching. This is the Let's Glow Show. Again, my name is Amanda Sweet. We'll be at Drinks by Design tomorrow night. And we are looking for brand ambassadors for our next Clothing Swap Festival, which is happening as a part of the Detroit Month of Design on September 7th. So if you're interested in making content, community building, getting all dressed up, and community service, then you might be a right brand ambassador. And we are shooting on July 20th. So hit us up. We'll share the application. Just throw your hat in the ring. Yes. Throw your hat in the ring.
Throw it in.
Awesome. And we will see you next week with another creative entrepreneur. It's Amanda Sweet, the Let's Glow Show. Bye.